curry sauce and cheese, and it's for some reason inside of a pizza box. I don't know what kind of material they have, what kind of cardboard they have to sustain the wettest of slops I've ever seen. I said Philip has already been dead for 10 years and all of Union Jack Twitter came from you. Yeah. Don't get me started on ew, bruv. Don't get me started on fucking ew, bruv.
And what good does it do when we're clean, but China's not, and Russia's not, and India's not? So they're pouring fumes. You know, the world is actually a small piece of the universe, right? They're pouring fumes, and we're trying to protect everything and building products for 3 times more than is necessary. No, they could have made a great deal. If they were going to go back in, that's fine. But they could have made a great deal instead of just say, we're back in.
I don't understand how you do I don't know how you do a better, like, Paris climate accord, like a better deal. Like, what's a better deal? It's literally like a non-binding agreement. It's like a promise that you're making. I don't know. The Jonas Brothers, they did a terrible deal when they promised abstinence before marriage. They should have gone back and renegotiated when they put on the promise rings. Why are you doing a pinky promise without money? You need money for the abstinence.
These people. And in one of his first official acts, which was incredible because, again, he talked about energy. He never said he was going to do this. He canceled the Keystone XL pipeline, destroying not the 8,000 or the 9,000 or the 11,000 jobs that you hear, but 42,000 great-paying jobs on just about day one, right? He never talked about that during a debate because he wouldn't have gotten away with it. Well, he would have because they cheated so much it probably wouldn't have happened. No, but that was not a topic of conversation, remember? Fracking, you can frack. Oh, we love fracking. During the primary, no fracking. As soon as he got through that, he said, no, of course, everybody can frack. No fracking. You wait till you see what happens with your gasoline. Wait till you see what happens, and we cannot let this stuff.
If infrastructure spending and jobs are so fucking important, why did Donald Trump spend zero time, like literally zero time, doing any infrastructure projects beyond, building pipelines? It's so fucking strange. I don't know.
Continue to go on. One of my proudest accomplishments as president was to make America energy independent. The United States became the #1 energy superpower on earth. #1. Became #1. Bigger than Saudi Arabia, bigger than Russia by a lot. We left them all in the dust. They were all in the dust. But if the Democrats have their way, we are heading from energy dominance to energy disaster. That's what's happening. You have to see what's going on. Everything's being closed up. It's a disaster. The blackouts we saw in California last summer and all the time, and the windmill calamity that we're witnessing in Texas. Great state of Texas. We love Texas. But it's so sad when you look at it. That'll just be the start. How bad is wind power? So I talk about it all the time at CPAC, right? We went to CPAC, remember last, I said, we're going to watch the president. Well, Alice, the wind isn't blowing. I don't believe we'll have any electricity. Remember, we would kid, but I wasn't actually kidding. It's such an expensive form of energy. It's so bad for the environment. It kills the birds. It destroys the landscapes. And remember,
birds!
These are structural columns with fans on them. They wear out, and when they wear out all over the country, you see them. Nobody takes them down. They're rotting. They're rusting. How this is environmentally good for our country, and it costs many, many times more than natural gas, which is clean. It costs many more and can fuel our great factories. Wind can't do that. And solar, I love solar, but it doesn't have the capacity to do what we have to do to make America great again. Sorry, it just doesn't have it. Under the radical Democrat policies, The price of gasoline has already surged 30% since the election and will go to $5, $6, $7, and even higher. So enjoy that when you go to the pump, and they'll say, that'll be about $200 to fill up your van. You'll go to the, remember they used to go to the little small vans? They got away from the big ones that everybody wanted. They went to the small ones. Well, you know what? Probably a good investment as long as these guys have their say, because, you know.
Happy birthday, C-Mac. Oh, also, I don't know what the fuck he's talking about as far as vans. This is like a small small window point of reference. Oh, it's a meme. It's a meme. Oh, never mind. It's not C-Mac's actual birthday. Fuck you guys, man. All right. Well, regardless, it is top of the fucking hour. I was gonna celebrate C-Mac's birthday, which is not even a fucking real birthday, by telling you guys that it's top of the hour every hour. It's time for a 6-second ad break. If you like an uninterrupted broadcast, all you need to do is subscribe. You can do it for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime by connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account. You get one free Prime subscription. I'm going to continue on with the video, and I'm running the ad now.
No, it's a shame what's happening. Energy prices are going to go through the roof, and that includes your electric bills. That includes any bill having to do with energy, our biggest cost.
Have you considered reevaluating your ad contracts so Twitch doesn't force mid-rolls anymore when they end up seeing way more ads than just a single pre-roll when they join the stream? It's also more disruptive to the stream. No, because I can't do that. And two, you're wrong. They are literally forcing mid-rolls. You just don't see them ever here because I literally run the fucking ads. So there you go. No, they don't. Okay, my friend, they literally do. You are fucking wrong. They literally do not know their channel has them. Then go watch other channels, man. Go watch other channels with zero fucking ads then, okay? There you go. Here, take 2 weeks off. Go watch all the other channels. Report back to me with your information. Dumbass.
We will now
fucking 10-month subscriber saying this, like, very fucking clearly he knows. Like, he doesn't even see fucking ads in here.
Relying on Russia and the Middle East for oil. And they talk about Russia. What's better than what this guy's done for Russia? I had oil where they were actually paying you to take it, okay? You know, that was a little, remember they were going to give you 37 a barrel, but you had to take it away. You had free oil almost for a period of time, and one way I was proud of it, but we also had to save the energy industry, and it worked out well. And I dealt with Russia and Saudi Arabia, and they cut back on production, and we got it back up.
It is the reason why I just fucking ban and move on. I'm just gonna address it one time and never again, is because I talk about the ad shit every fucking day, pretty much. Once a day for like 25 to 30 minutes. I'm just sick and tired of it. If you think I'm a hypocrite, then fucking go find somewhere else. Seriously, it is really, it just sucks. I know that there are a bunch of different communities that like literally talk about how I suck and how much of a fucking hypocrite I am for literally negotiating to make sure that I run the least amount of fucking ads I can physically while still having a fucking contract in comparison to other places. And knowing full well that if I don't run the ads, Twitch is going to run ads whenever the fuck they want to in the middle of content. And I'm going to do it. Like, I'm going to do what I'm doing. If you don't like it, you can actually fucking leave and suck my entire dick at the time. Okay, there you go.
But now it's going the opposite, because now they're taking this incredible energy independence away from the people of our country, and you're going to see costs.
Yeah, I think I'm going to stop. Honestly, I think I'm going to stop announcing that I'm running ads going forward. I feel like that's part of the reason why people get so fucking frustrated with the ad shit.
Other oil-producing countries, and a massive loss for the United States and our great citizens. Joe Biden and the Democrats are even pushing policies that would destroy women's sports.
So this was a big highlight of the conversation. I was waiting for this. Finally, we got here. Unscheduled mid-rolls are obnoxious. I appreciate the way you do it. Yeah, well, I'm probably going to do it going forward instead of being transparent, because being transparent actually leads to further stun locks and opens you up to people wanting to attack you. Other streamers run 3 minutes of ads every hour without their control, yet they complain about 1 minute of ads when you pause stream until they come back. Yeah, it's very frustrating. And I have no control over it either. On top of that, like sometimes Twitch decides to tweak something or start fucking serving mid rolls or whatever, despite the fact that I'm doing ads. I immediately reach out to my account manager to get a better understanding of it. And it is really frustrating at this point because like there was that one metric that everyone constantly talks about where like who says ads the most in any Twitch chat, and I was like far and above beyond everyone. So everyone thinks I run more ads when I literally run less ads than most other streamers my size. Especially because like I have run ads in the past unprompted, and people lose their shit when I do that. You know what I mean? Like people lose their shit when they're like ads question mark. Anyways, keep going.
A lot of new records are being broken in women's sports. Hate to say that, ladies, but got a lot of new records. They're being shattered. You know, for years, the weightlifting, every ounce is like a big deal for many years. All of a sudden, somebody comes along and beats it by 100 pounds. Boom, boom. Now, young girls and women are incensed that they are now being forced to compete against those who are biological males. It's not good for women. It's not good for women's sports, which worked so long and so hard to get to where they are.
This is the peak of Obama era culture wars, right? Like trans bathrooms was like the main point of contention, as though like this is a legitimate fucking this is like the most important issue that the American working class is like frustrated by, is like, you know, trans women peeing wherever the fuck they want to pee, right? Like Republicans tried to make this the most significant problem for Americans, right? So now we've moved on from the trans bathroom and we're talking about trans women in sports, partially because of Joe Rogan and the massive audience that he has consistently talking about this. I've talked about this numerous times. You know where my take is. I do not give a shit, okay? If you believe that trans women should not be able to participate in sports with cisgender women, then you're basically saying trans women aren't women. They're different, and they should not, and that is transphobic. Secondly, who gives a shit? The irony is, of course, fucking Republicans who otherwise would clown on fucking women's sports are acting like they literally care about women's sports. It's like the peak of virtue signaling. Literally, no one cares. I don't care about male sports. I don't care about female sports. I just don't care about it in general. But like this notion that like Republicans actually want to maintain the sanctity of women's sports is so fucking psychotic. It is like one of the funniest parts about it, okay? One of the funniest parts about it is like Republicans being like, yes, I want to make sure that there's a sanctity of the women's sports that needs to be protected. Like, shut the fuck up, bitch. Shut the fuck up, okay? And lastly, the reason why every single motherfucker runs to that one-time Fallon Fox broke someone else's fucking skull within the UFC franchise or whatever back in like 2016 or whatever is because there aren't that many instances where trans women are out competing cis women or genuinely fucking damaging them. So they have to constantly talk about the one issue that happened so many fucking years ago because it's not that big of a fucking deal, okay? Trans women aren't like overwhelmingly outperforming cis women in sports. And even if they were, it wouldn't be a fucking problem because there is no distinguishing factor or should not be any distinguishing factor between trans women and fucking cis women. Sorry, it is what it is. That is the fucking reality. 2014 isn't that long ago. Yeah, I know, dude. Yeah, except if you were saying the N-word in 2014 and you fucking changed, I would probably defend you, okay? And say, hey, this person has changed. He's demonstrated change. 2014 is a long-ass fucking time ago, brother. If it was that large of an issue, it would still be happening nonstop. Okay? You're kidding, right? It's like competing against someone who's been on HGH for 2 decades. Just say the argument is pointless and move on. Jeez. Oh, the last part about this that I was going to say is that I think PEDs should be completely allowed in sports. Most people fucking take them regardless behind closed doors. I would rather regulate it and make sports more fucking fun. That's my take, okay? And the other, as far as the other side of this argument goes, then what do you want? Do you want, do you want, for example, trans men, right? Do you want trans men to beat the fucking shit out of cis women? Is that what you want? Because they're technically biological women from your fucking bigoted worldview. Is that what you want? Do you want? No, you don't. You don't want them to fucking compete because you don't want them to exist. That's it. That's where the fucking argument ends, okay? Because it's always just about, like, it's not about giving a single fuck about women's sports. Let's be real, okay? Sorry, call me a fucking misogynist all day, every day. Literally no one gives a shit about female high school sports, okay? Shut the fuck up. No one gives a shit and should not give a shit about high school sports in general. But, like, this notion that you literally, oh my God, like, what about women's high school sports? Like, oh no, people are gonna, like, secretly start taking HRT and fucking undergo, like, rigorous hormone replacement for months just to fucking win in a high school sports. You have to be some completely fucking deranged. It is the exact same kind of psychopathic take that people had about gay people faking being gay and lesbians faking being lesbians because they wanted to get brownie points. But because it's no longer fashionable to be homophobic like that in public, they've just moved on to the next thing that they find to be strange, and that's why they're doing it to fucking trans people. Okay? Shut the fuck up. Jesus Christ. Go back and watch fucking Friday Night Lights or whatever the fuck you psychos like. You've had some extremely bad takes this last week and then double down for no reason. Sorry, Rocket Scientist 93. You're right. I should instead say things like, oh my God, trans people, which like make up a incremental, completely insignificant part of like high school sports or sports in general, should be completely abolished, which then ends up hurting fucking intersex people like Caster Semenya, okay? From and stops them from participating as well in sports. That's what I should say instead. No, it's not a terrible take. It's just that you get upset because you don't agree with me. That's it. That's the only difference. It's not a fucking terrible take at all. Yeah, if you care about fucking scholarships, then make college free, motherfucker. Stop crying about or Caster Semenya is not even fucking intersex, actually. What the fuck am I saying? Caster Semenya is cis, but has testosterone levels that are higher naturally. I see what you mean. Like, it doesn't matter, but you can't say it isn't unfair. It's not. It's not. It's only unfair if you... Like, it's like saying... Okay. It's like fucking saying that... It's like saying that, like, if you naturally produce more testosterone, it's unfair. It's like saying playing basketball when you're 6'7" is unfair because you're playing basketball with people that are like 5'11", okay? It's like that. Either you legitimately don't believe that trans women are fucking women and should be able to participate in women's sports, or you do believe it and you think they should, because it doesn't fucking matter. Because the search within yourself, the operating principle there in the back of your fucking mind is that, like, somehow, somewhere along the line, someone is cheating to become trans. It's fake, and they're doing it even though they're not fucking trans. And that is transphobia. Okay? You have to believe that trans people are, like, kind of fucking faking it to be trans so they can win, like, trivial shit. Like, in high school sports so they can get a fucking free scholarship. That's where it's coming from. I want motherfuckers to undergo the trans experience when they talk shit like this, okay? If you think people are just you know, faking being trans to like win athletic scholarships, go ahead, put your money where your mouth is. Now I'm forcibly feminizing you, bitch. Okay? Sorry. You are now going to get forcibly feminized. I am going to, at gunpoint, forcibly feminize you to see if you like it or not. It's so fucking easy, right? People are just doing it for attention, right? People are just doing it because they want to fucking, you know, they want to get scholarships. And then again, the alternative is you are literally making trans men, which you would consider to be biological women, fucking beat the shit out of cis women then. Isn't that going to ruin high school sports? No, you just don't want them to compete. That's it. You are strawmanning? Wait. I'm sorry. How does this work only one way, my guy? If you consider trans women to be biological men, then you consider trans men to be biological women. And if you want to fucking have biological in your mind, and this is really transphobic, and I'm sorry, but I need to like literally talk this through for some of the dumbasses. If you consider biological women who are you know, trans men to fucking stay in their own category, right? So now they are going to compete with cis women. Hassan has the worst takes about sports. Okay. Usually I start banning people after a while for this conversation, specifically because, like, not because they have bad takes or whatever, or because I disagree with them, but because they just like provide zero value to the argument and just say you have a bad take, move on, or like hold the L or some shit like that. The strawmanning is you saying that we wouldn't agree with your hypothetical, so you do agree. So you agree. Oh, okay, never mind. I'm sorry. So you don't think if hormones are that significant in a boost in performance, you don't think that a biological woman who would be a trans man at this point, okay, who's undergoing testosterone, who's getting pumped full of fucking testosterone, that person is actually not going to have a competitive advantage over cis women? Is that what you're saying? Is that really what you're saying? That's your take? Because if you care about like the sanctity and the integrity of, you know, high school sports, then that should be a ruiner as well, right? Thank you, No Reef Gaming, for the 20 tier 1 gift subs, by the way. Huh. I wonder why you don't talk about that, though, for the most part. Great Shut 69. Wow, that is insane. Trans women should be in male sports because they're still built like male physically often and choose not to make body changes. Never realize that you turn into a liberal, Hassan. The people that say shit like this absolutely do not fucking consider that there are literal tests and whatnot to ensure that there is like some air of fairness within competition. Okay, that's not true. Like you're just false, and you are again being transphobic. Also, there are weight classes for a specific reason. Thank you, Flucky, for the 20 tier 1 gifts to subs. We are any percentage speedrunning every bad Glenn take right now. Yeah, I know. People are more upset about sports than they are about the treatment of trans community. Exactly. It's dumb. And the reality is you literally just do not care. Like, you don't care. Because if you did care, the alternative is also not going to work. So then you get to a point where you're like, yeah, we should make the 4 fucking trans athletes compete against one another in the entire country. And then you're so fucking silly. Okay, let's get like the 5 high school wrestlers who are trans to compete against the fucking 4 UFC fighters that are trans. And, you know, let's make up an 8-person fucking league. Like, shut the fuck up, dumbass. And again, you're otherizing them regardless. Republicans acting like they're in favor of women's sports. They constantly shit on Megan Rapinoe and Kelly Loeffler brought an NBA team just to shit on her players. Yeah, exactly. It's just virtue signaling bullshit. The protection of womanhood is a strong rhetorical tool for political messaging. Same shit with old Jim Crow laws rooted in preserving the sanctity of white women in order to scaremonger people. Yeah, like, what do you mean protecting womanhood? Like, trans women are fucking women. Like, if you don't believe that, then you're literally fucking you're transphobic. You're anti-trans. People in your chat are actually saying, I think we should check their testosterone levels. Oh, that is a really interesting and unique take. If only like there was some sort of compliance from international authorities that did that already. Oh, well, we will never know. They don't do that, right? They don't do that. So, you know, you keep being mad. Oh, wait, they fucking do that already. This is the other part of it. Like, this is why I get so fucking triggered about this shit, because they literally already do that, dumbass. They already do that. And that is the hilarity of this argument, because you can reduce all of the fucking fears and all the anger that people have against trans people competing in sports to just that simple bigotry, because their counter solutions or their counter proposals are things that people are already fucking doing.
The records that stood for years, even decades, are now being smashed with ease. Smashed. If this is not changed, women's sports as we know it will die. They'll end. It'll end. What coach, if I'm a coach, you know, I want to be a great coach. What coach, as an example, wants to recruit a young woman to compete if her record can easily be broken by somebody who was born a man? Not too many of those coaches around, right? If they are around, they won't be around long, because they're going to have a big problem when...
Wait, what the fuck? What just happened?
Their record is, we're 0-16, but we're getting better. No, I think it's crazy. I think it's just crazy what's happening. We must protect the integrity of women's sports. So important.
If it's such a big deal, then why the fuck aren't all the trans women winning every Olympic medal? Sports is about genetic advantages at the top level, so it's not just genetic advantages at the top level. It's also about fucking, like, access to, like, it's oftentimes access to facilities and training and shit like that, good scouting programs, what area that you live in, so that you have literally like an upper hand in those training and scouting programs, like how much access you have to steroids and doping on the, you know, on the side secretly. Food, yes, food. Like, your socioeconomic positioning is very, very important for how well you can do in the realm of sports. As if estrogen doesn't fuck you up. I used to be able to carry a fuck ton, but I sprained my wrist tonight picking up the juice. Bifurcating sports by testosterone levels is kind of dumb too, because part of the reason why male athletes, for example, are so successful is because they have higher testosterone than average males to begin with. Making a metric for who a trans person should play with is just dumb. Just let trans men play with men and trans women play with women. LMAO. I know it's a much simpler way of going about it, but they don't want to do it because it's sneaky, right? Like, oh, trans people, that's new. They're just trying to get one off on the cis folk. Like, meanwhile, trans people just want to fucking live, okay? They just want to live. They don't want to get fucking murdered. They don't want to get shit on every fucking day, and they don't want their existence to be questioned every time they fucking step out of the house. And motherfuckers like love doing this culture war shit and use it as a talking point. That's precisely why every conversation that revolves around whatever the fuck turns into, well, trans people are bad, when you listen to any Ben Shapiro broadcast.
After. And I don't even know, is that controversial? You know, somebody said, well, that's going to be very controversial. I said, that's okay. You haven't heard anything yet. As you can see, the early weeks of the Biden administration have nothing less than, they've been a catastrophe for American workers and for American families. The task of our mission, and for us, it's our movement. As I said, a movement like has never been seen, I think we could probably say, never been seen anywhere in the world. I mean, nobody's ever seen a movement like this. I'd grow up and I'd watch somebody who came in second in New Hampshire, or first in Iowa, and that was the end, and they became famous for the rest of their lives. We won the election twice. I mean, think about it. Twice. The task for our movement and our party is to stand up to this destructive agenda with confidence and with resolve. The future of the Republican Party is as a party that defends the social, economic, and cultural interests and values of working American families of every race, color, and creed. That's why the party is growing so rapidly and is becoming a different party. And it's becoming a party of love. You have to see outside the streets.
He literally just went on a fucking random transphobic screed, like for no reason whatsoever. And then in the same breath followed up by saying, we're a party of love.
I mean, there's such love. The flags. Amazing. That's right. No, it's a party that's incredible. The people, the spirit. And there are, as you probably heard a little while ago, I mean, there's more spirit now than there's ever been, including even before the election. More spirit now than we've ever seen, because people are seeing how bad it can be. And again, I want to thank Rush and Catherine, because what he did to get the word out has been incredible.
Trans women who are taking HRT in high school are also taking hormone blockers, which after 6 to 18 months basically negates the hormone advantage alongside taking estradiol. I say this as an actual trans 16-year-old who has literal first-hand experience and has talked to doctors about this. There's also numerous studies conducted on this that there is no like long-term benefits to like the HRT, with the exception I think of like bone density, I guess, which is the only advantage that I guess if you would consider that to be an advantage. And that's precisely why they always fucking talk about bone density when they are when people talk about like fucking combat sports and shit like that. But overall, and muscle growth, sure, but overall, it doesn't lead to any performance boosts in a long enough timeline so far. Not something that they have. It's a very controversial subject, but from what I understand, it's not exactly as clear cut as the transphobes would make it seem like. I still don't care, regardless. By the way, like I don't. There's two different ways of looking at this too, by the way. HRT at an early age or hormone blockers at an early age will actually reduce your bone density. Like all of the problems that they criticize about like fucking older trans people transitioning at a later age as a consequence of transphobia and how normalized it is could be immediately destroyed by allowing people to, under medical supervision, as they do currently, to take hormone blockers, which are changeable as well, the outcomes of which are changeable, to allow people to start taking it early on. But no, that's also bad because they're force feminizing your fucking children. Okay? So they are trying to fucking catch it from each end of the problem and like make sure that the problem still exists. Because it's not about like fairness in sports, especially because like, I'm sorry to mention this over and over again, but like most people that cry about the shit do not give a single fuck about women's sports. Let's be fucking real. Not that it has like a significant destructive element anyway. Trans inclusion does not mean like the destruction of women's sports. That's inherently a transphobic talking point. But the people who are fucking crying about this and complaining about this more often than not legitimately do not give a shit about women's sports. Calm the fuck on, bro. Anyway.
Some people are irreplaceable, as Sean Hannity would say, and he said Rush is irreplaceable. But his spirit lives on, and that's something that we need and we love. Republicans believe that the needs of every citizen must come first. In fact, America must come first. We don't put it first. They don't put it first. Over the past 4 years, my administration delivered for Americans of all backgrounds like never before. Like never before. We built the strongest economy in the history of the world, raised wages, and achieved the lowest African American, Hispanic American, and Asian American unemployment rates ever recorded.
You know what the other part about this that's ironic is that, like, Republicans love fucking saying that the left wants egalitarianism and it's a bad thing and you want all sports to fucking be erased or whatever, when they're literally doing that, okay? There are competitive advantages that, like I mentioned, socioeconomic conditions give to certain athletes. There are genetic advantages that certain athletes have, whether it's height or fucking bone density or whatever the fuck you want to talk about, right? Michael Phelps having longer arms than the average human being, shit like that, right? That stuff they have decided is good. That stuff they've decided is natural and good. They just don't think being trans is natural, and that's why they're like, no, you can't do this. And that stems from transphobia, okay? It's just as simple as that. You have decided that certain genetic advantages are fucking good and certain advantages are not. That's it, okay? You've decided that certain advantages like socioeconomic conditions are good. Being able to feed yourself appropriately is good. Access to fucking institutions that will help you advance and good scouting programs that will help you advance is good, but being trans is not, okay? And the only thing I will say about this, the last fucking thing that I will point to, is that you ironically are trying to make sports less competitive. You just do not want trans people to compete because you think they're going to ruin the competition. And that inherently is what you fucking say the left is always trying to do. The left is always trying to, everyone gets a participation trophy. They're going to be too good. They're going to be too good at sports. First of all, it's not even true that they're going to be better at fucking sports, okay? So far, we have not seen that. And secondly, even if they were, who the fuck cares? What are you, like some bitch-ass liberal? Or you're like, hey, I don't want them to be good at sports. Some people are going to be better at sports than others, and I hate that. Okay? Fuck you.
It was so great for everybody of all backgrounds that even after the China virus, we are leading the world. Nobody's even close. We're leading it in the comeback. Our economic comeback has been incredible. That's because the financial and economic foundation we built was so strong that unlike other countries who are having a hard time, we didn't break. We came roaring back, and now our stock market and your 401ks are again at record levels, higher than ever before, actually.
Oh, thank God for Joseph Robinette Biden, I guess.
Many people have asked, what is Trumpism? A new term being used more and more. I'm hearing that term more and more. I didn't come up with it. But what it means is great deals, great trade deals, great ones.
Someone's dying.
Not deals where we give
Someone's
away
literally
everything.
fucking dying
jobs,
in the background.
Money. Like the USMCA replacement of the horrible NAFTA. NAFTA was one of the worst deals ever made, probably the worst trade deal ever made. And we ended it. A lot of people forget. We ended it. Now we have the USMCA, Mexico, Canada. It's incredible what it's done for our farmers who are doing fantastically. Did you see grain prices and grain sales are at an all-time high? Wheat, all-time high. so many elements of farms and farmers, and they love me. And remember, it's going to be very close in Iowa. Well, it wasn't close. We won in a landslide, Iowa, because our farmers know and they put up with it. And we did a lot of work with the tariffs and all these things that we had to do to get it. And now the farmers are doing great, but they're setting records. It means low taxes and eliminating job-killing regulations, Trumpism. It means strong borders, but people coming in.
Okay, this shit is mid. Is there anything else that I'm missing here? Like, what else did he fucking talk about? I don't want to watch the rest of this. We've already been on it for like 3 hours almost. It's like kind of mid. I'm getting bored.
To our country.
I can't see his bussy. Oh, never
Who have
mind.
been taken advantage of for so many years, and they were doing great. They were doing great before that horrible vote absentee. Has to have a reason. We should eliminate the insanity of mass and very corrupt mail-in voting.
The stigma of transgenderism has the most costly effects on the population, with this group having one of the highest rates of depression and suicide, not fucking gender-affirming hormones. Yes. Well, also gender confirmation surgery and therapy like that has been effective at reducing the suicide rates, and also family members that are supportive rather than shitting on you for coming out as trans. No, he said transgenderism, but he's fucking right. Like, that is true. It's literally, if you want to look at facts, that is fucking facts. That is an actual fact. Transphobic could be reduced to introducing LGBTQ awareness and education in schools. If only the Dems would pass on like the 1776 Commission. But for LGBTQ education, they won't, because they don't care about systemic change, but they could. I didn't even know gay people existed until I was fucking 14 and knew what sex was when I was 12. Jesus Christ, this is Canada.
We must have voter ID. Voter ID. You know, to get into the Democrat National Convention, when they had the convention, you needed voter ID. You needed an ID card. You couldn't get in unless you had an ID. So many people told me you can't get in that place, you need ID. Nobody had ID. You need voter ID. They know that. This is a con job. They're conning everybody. They know that. They know the wall was good. They knew the wall would work, but they didn't want to have it because we wanted it. I made one big mistake on the wall. I should have said, we will not have a wall. And then they would have said, let's build a wall. I made a big mistake. I made a big mistake. I'm sorry. Took us a year and a half extra because of that mistake. We will not have a wall. We need a wall immediately, said Chuck Schumer. We need universal signature matching. They want to pass a bill where you don't have to match signatures, where signatures don't mean anything. Now, they know it's all, just like with the wall, just like with voter ID, when you need to go into anything that's Democrat-run, you need it. But for voting, which is our most sacred institution, they don't want to let you have it. There should be a 100% requirement to verify the citizenship of every person who votes. And there must be a chain of custody protections for every ballot. Every ballot. And you saw what happened in Detroit and Philadelphia and many other places, swing states mostly, all over, but swing states mostly. You saw what happened. You saw what was going on. You saw that more people, you take a look at the votes. When you have more votes than you have people, that's a problem, right? Is that a problem? You know, we have a little problem.
This is literally the Mike Pillow rhetoric, but like watered down. You know what I mean? Like, we look at Mike Pillow when he's saying psychotic shit like this now as like a complete utter buffoon, a complete psychopath who's just completely lost the plot. But when Trump says it, these guys are like, I mean, I guess they like the Mike Pillow guy too. You think the CPAC will remind the viewers to fact check everything said here? No, that's not going to happen. CPAC had Mike Pillow ads. Are we really hate watching a speech? Yeah, it kind of
Problem adjusting in Detroit. We seem to have more votes than we have people. A lot more votes. An election-changing number. We're not talking about a number where you can't. No, these are election-changing numbers. In Pennsylvania, they had hundreds of thousands of more votes than they had people voting. What's that all about? What's that?
Oh, additional replies that may include offensive content. Okay.
I see my
What's that all about?
What? I'm gonna literally start banning people that do this. I mean, it's like irrelevant to this combo right now, man. What? I thought you were giving me like something.
They say. Yeah, I'd say so. In the history of our country, and it has taken place for years in Pennsylvania and Detroit and various other places, but there's
No, it's not. No. The joke is funny, and we'll look at clips like that in the future. But like, not while we're doing.
There's tremendous, never like this, because they use COVID as a way of cheating. That's
They use
what happened.
COVID as a way of
Everybody
cheating.
knows it. Hundreds of thousands and millions.
What was the cheating? Oh, what was the cheating? The cheating was that more people were able to vote, ease of access to voting in the form of mail-in ballots and universal mail-in ballot registration.
Ballots. They used it as a way of getting what they've wanted for many years, and the Republicans have to do something about it. They better do something about it. Our election process is worse than that, in many cases, of a third world country. You know that. You saw what was going on. Even if you consider nothing else, it is undeniable that election rules were illegally changed at the last minute in almost every swing state, with the procedures rewritten by local politicians. You're not allowed to do that. And local judges. They want more time. They want this. They want that. All done by local politicians or local judges, as opposed to state legislatures as required by the Constitution of the United States. And these are numbers that are
Of course, the reason why this is a big problem is that of course, is because the fucking state legislatures, or the reason why he's bringing that up is because the state legislatures are like stacked to the fucking gills with Republicans. That's why. It is completely partisan and completely in favor of the Republican Party, and that's precisely why he wants the state legislatures to... he wants the local measures to end, not at like the local judgeship, but instead, or the local jurisdiction of the judge, but instead to end at the state legislatures, because it's fucking gerrymandered super hard. And that's precisely why, because it's undemocratic. He's not saying states' rights, because if it was stacked to the gills with Democrats in a similar capacity, then he would say, why won't they let local judges deal with this? It's their own fucking government. It's the local government. They should deal with it. No, that's why he's like putting a cap on locality based on where Republicans are favored.
Massive. These aren't little numbers. These are numbers that in each state is a transformative number. It changes the outcome of the election.
Why isn't he mentioning Dominion? I wish he would. I wish he would mention Dominion voting software. I really want him to talk about Dominion voter software and how bad it is. I want to know. Yeah, Pepe Le D, the real Pepe Le D, is the Dominion voter software. Like, what's up? What's up, bitch? Put your fucking money where your mouth is, you fucking broke bitch, dude. Do it. Come on. Say it, motherfucker. Say it.
And it's not close. Regardless of your political views, this should concern you as a constitutional matter. And the Supreme Court, again, didn't have the guts or the courage to do anything about it. And neither did other judges. And Democrats even admitted in Time magazine, which is, I would say, on the liberal side, that they just couldn't hold it in. They had to brag about it. Because what they did, they had to brag about it. They couldn't do it. You got to read the story. It's a disaster. It's a disaster for our country that we can allow something so...
You know, honestly, it is kind of... I mean, that's why I have the Steal the Vote fucking rave beads that I wear all the time. People ask me, like, what this says. It says Steal the Vote on it. Like, I think Democrats should just start flexing and be like, shut up, bitch. Yeah, we stole it. Suck my dick. Like, it doesn't fucking matter anyway.
To happen. Read that.
If you were smart, you would steal it too. You were just bad at stealing. We are better. We're the best at theft.
That article. I really encourage you. You read that article. Yet all of the election integrity.
Boomer fucking sharing newspaper clippings with the rest of the boomers. We are experiencing a live in-person email chain right now amongst your grandparents. Isn't that great?
In the world will mean nothing if we don't have free speech. And that's where we're at now. If Republicans can be censored for speaking the truth and calling out corruption, we will not have democracy, and we will have only left-wing tyranny. And we can do this. We can do this. We're smarter than they are. We're tougher than they are. For some reason, we just don't. We don't get it done. We let them attack our businesses, and we don't attack their businesses. I believe your numbers are bigger than their numbers, but you're nicer than they are. You're not as vicious as they are. In the past, we would debate. I would have it. I'd debate. You've seen me for many years. They throw something. I debate. They debate. Who knows who wins? You know, people go, they vote, they see what happens. But they would have an idea.
We are the party of love. And the murdered police officers at my direction from my mega stands were actually doing it in a loving manner. Believe me. When they bludgeoned the police officer's skull with a fire extinguisher and trampled on his lifeless body, or not lifeless body at the time, they were doing it with love. And also they were Antifa.
Disagree.
They were just trying, yeah. Someone said it, yeah. They were trying to smother him. An accident.
Debate and discourse would take place, and then somebody would make a decision. You would win, you would lose. The public would make up its mind, but now there is no debate because they refuse to allow our side to even speak or be heard. They don't want debate because we have easy victories in a debate. Very easy victories. It's called common sense. It's called other things, but it's called common sense. So they don't want a debate. The time has come to break up big tech.
So this is the ultimate advantage that conservatives do have in debates because common sense automatically translates to the status quo, right? Things have been this way for a long time, so it should remain this way. It's just common sense because change is considered to be uncommon, or change is oftentimes considered to be bad, especially by older people who do not hate fucking, who absolutely despise change because it creates a sense of fear in a world that's changing beyond their comprehension, and it just signifies that they're closer and closer to death. I don't want to get too deep into the psychoanalysis of why older people are afraid of change, but that's usually at the heart of this conversation. So that's precisely why Donald Trump and Republicans oftentimes can just resort back to this is common sense. This is just common sense argument. That's why it's a little bit easier for Republicans to dismantle progressive policy positions by saying it's not common sense to do that. Okay?
Monopolies and restore fair competition.
Do you think he should not be platformed like this? No, I miss him, dude. I love that he's platformed like this. Can you explain how such an empty head could be the best president of the most powerful country on earth? Can you explain? Because America is full of dumbasses, okay? That's why. Voter suppression, years and years of propaganda, the Republican Party apparatus, or the Republican media apparatus working overtime, America becoming more and more like a reality TV show and wanting to just like consume the political culture like it's another fucking Keeping Up with the Kardashians show. People loving Donald Trump's pussy because he does have a fat dumpy. Horrible education system. There is a litany of different problems. America's a powder keg for someone like Donald Trump to take over a terrible incrementalist and elitist fucking controlled opposition party in the form of Democrats that also, whenever they're in a position of power, continue to accelerate, well, maybe not accelerate, but continue to move towards fascism. Uniquely weak candidates or uniquely disliked, intensely disliked candidates such as Hillary Clinton being put up against someone who is a clown like Donald Trump. White supremacy never really being addressed in American culture or society. The systemic racism not being dismantled within our institutions so that people can so easily resort back to the, oh, this is just common sense. You know, black people are this way and white people are that way. Come on, I'm not being racist. It's just a cultural difference. It's so easy for Republicans to be able to make these arguments because of all of the unique problems that America has. I was at CPAC. My grandpappy beat my ass for wearing a mask. You libs don't know what you're talking about, brother. Exactly, brother.
Republicans, conservatives must open up our...
It's also liberals operating like this. Not to dunk on you too much, because I think you're just like a well-intentioned but misguided liberal. I really hope real Republicans take back the GOP, not Trumplicans. Trumplicans are real Republicans, my friend. It's just a logical extension of years and years and years of racial agitprop and lies that the Republican Party routinely spreads. When you think about like Trumpians being somewhat different than real Republicans, you are failing to recognize that that Trump is very much a real Republican. Ronald Reagan, in the same breath, is a Republican that is considered a real Republican that liberals and Republicans alike hold up and say, why can't you be more like this? Ronald Reagan was devastating to American culture and American politics in a similar capacity to Donald Trump. Donald Trump actually tailored a lot of his rhetoric around Reagan. It's just Donald Trump will say, and I said this when he was running in like 2015, I said it in 2016, and I kept repeating this over and over again. I debated people on Donald Trump being a regular, normal Republican with like some minor aesthetic differences. But yeah, Make America Great Again is literally a Ronald Reagan slogan. Anyway, so what I'm trying to say is Donald Trump is the Republican Party and the Republican Party is Donald Trump. The difference between Donald Trump and like a Mitt Romney, on the other hand, is that Mitt Romney aesthetically is a little bit more civil, okay? He doesn't give the game away in the way that these fucking hogs can understand and comprehend and want to engage with. Mitt Romney is never going to say, and this same goes for Democrats too, by the way. Mitt Romney is never going to say Mexicans are rapists, okay? And that's why we need to build a wall. Mitt Romney instead is going to say we are a nation of laws. We are a nation of immigrants, but we are also a nation of laws. And that is precisely why we need to have immigration laws in this country, because without laws, we are no longer going to maintain our sovereignty. Okay? That's Mitt Romney's take. It's the consequences are going to be the exact same, white nativist immigration policies, and the exact same thing happens with Democrats. What I just told you, word for word, is rhetoric that Obama used when accelerating our white nativist immigration policies. Okay? Bardock, no bummer, used those exact same words. So did Bill Clinton, so did George W. Bush, and so did Mitt Romney. And Donald Trump, the only difference between him and those guys was the fact that he did not use the we are a nation of laws and a nation of immigrants. He just said immigrant bad, Mexican immigrant bad, Norwegian immigrant good, black immigrant live in shit huts, and that's it. The outcomes are still the same, though. Do you get it? And for people saying like Bernie said the exact same shit, you are literally forgetting the fact that Bernie's immigration policies have changed. And Bernie wasn't like running on fucking we are a nation of immigrants. His entire argument against unrestricted free flow immigration, and it's that one quote that everyone always talks about, is open borders is a Koch brothers policy, literally stems from the fact that, and this is something that I admit and talk about all the goddamn time, is the reality that undocumented labor creates a labor pool that you can use always, and business owners do, against the documented labor pool, okay, to drive wages down. You get it? So the solution isn't to shut off the borders. The solution is to make sure that labor flow